After a close opening to map number 1, Na'Vi proved exactly why they were the favorites coming into this game, steamrolling across to a 16-7 win on Misfits' choice of map. Next up is Train, where Misfits will want that sweet, sweet revenge. But I think it's going to be hard for them to pick it up here. Na'Vi are looking good.
Yeah, if yesterday was any indication about how things will go here, it's not good for Misfits. Which is unfortunate because I feel like in the NA scene, Train's been one of their best maps. I mean, they have an impressive record in the North American scene on the map, and obviously we saw them capable on it against Heroic earlier today. But, you know, Na'Vi is one of those teams where Train is also their home, right? You know, they've had some big wins on it. I mean, they beat VP, for instance, at Katowice. They obviously smashed Misfits yesterday. The only losses they really have are against other really strong Train teams, like when they lost to SK at Vegas would be an example of that, or when they lost to like Astralis here and there. So it's only against the best of the world that are able to put them down on this map. And, you know, so Misfits has a tall task ahead of him is basically the point I'm trying to make.
Well, you mentioned one of the best teams in the world. Would you rate Na'Vi up there right now? I mean, they've been in that strange, sticky situation where are they, aren't they, one of the top 3, top 4 teams? Is that where you would rate them?
I'm not sure. I mean, they're definitely in the top 10 somewhere. I mean, they definitely had some good results here and there. You know, they're still definitely challenging up there. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, just waiting for like a really big result to kind of really solidify them in that position, right? And I think that this is kind of one of those tournaments where you felt like the way the field was set up that they'd have a good chance to make the final. Like, I think everyone's dream final was G2 versus Na'Vi. That's still a possibility, right? You know, these teams will definitely be put in different semifinals from each other. And so that definitely still could happen. But it's going to happen a little bit differently than you expected. We thought they'd both be top seeds. They're both second seeds trying to do it. So, yeah, well, we'll definitely see if Na'Vi can go ahead and put this series away here and now, whether or not Misfits can show it. They still have some life in them that, you know, yesterday was, you know, not their true form, and that they can actually, you know, pose a threat to Na'Vi on a map like Train.
I know it's something that Natu in particular firmly believes, that it's always dangerous to pick a map you've just beat a team on, again, in the same tournament, right? Because it allows Misfits to watch the demo, and you better believe that Sean Gares is deep into that, and he's really looking at everything that went wrong and try and remedy the situation. So it could be very possible Misfits come out with a couple of ironed over strategical plays or positional plays, but here we go. Misfits straight into Train. CT side, Na'Vi will be on the aggression, and a very, in fact, I think it's an exact copy of the T start that they had in pistol rounds. Oh, but Shazam is going to land a tasty one-tap onto Edward. Devu Duvek as well goes in for a one-tap of his own, so a lot of that utility simply isn't going to count for too much. Sees straight through the smoke, though, is going to land himself a kill, switching to the USP. In fact, it's a P2000 for Shazam. I can't get him down.
Yeah, so a bit of a back and forth pistol round here thus far, but Na'Vi do finally break through Ivy, and so that they have a little bit of map control to work with. They are pinned up, though, against Green Train as Sick swings around the T connector. He's actually going to be able to blindside a player. Blindsides another, just finishes it himself. Well done by Sick, what a round. And so that is the pistol going over to the way of Misfits.
You can't argue with that. Sick in the right place at the right time, catches them from the backside and will lay them to rest. Nicely done. Here we go again. You can see, didn't know what was about to hit them, but still, you can only kill what's ahead of you. And Sick. Oh, Sick. I guess that can be a new
Sure, that's a word now.
Got Sick.
Well done. NA English.
You'd think for an Englishman I might be able to speak the language, but apparently not. 1-for-1 trade, though, out on Ivy. Sick, once again, is going to try and emulate what we saw him do in the last round. That's just body everybody that's ahead of him. Still, Na'Vi are keeping themselves in this round. Just a player down. Flamey, Tech9, coming out of Ivy. His teammate just died ahead of him. And it's not going to happen. Misfits 2-0.
Yeah, so well done. Don't fall prey to the force buy up there by Na'Vi. That can always be difficult nowadays, so definitely good on Misfits to avoid that problem, as they need this map to stay alive in this tournament. And getting off to a good start is definitely the right way to go about it, as we will see them continuing to get those guns in order, while Na'Vi, on the other hand, are going to have to take more of a full save this time around after the force buy did not really pan out. So it will be mostly Glocks, except for Simple having the Deagle.
There's very few players you'd rather have the Deagle on than Simple.
Definitely up there.
Certainly the case, but it's more along the lines of UMP's a full purchase for Misfits that is the issue. Is Simple even going to get the opportunity to start to land headshots? Sean Gares is going to stop the push down ramp. I don't think from the position of Na'Vi they were too interested in that in the first place. It's looking more of a waterfall kind of approach out of Catwalk. Here comes the smoke over. Amanek going to be spraying with his UMP, going to bang himself 2 kills and did a whole bunch of damage to a third player, which is Flamey. And Sean Gares will pick up the pieces. Simple is going to get a chance, but not able to capitalize with anything. Another decent round by Misfits, who take a 3-0 lead, but this does remind me a little bit of the start of Cobblestone, and we know how that ended up.
Yeah, now the guns are coming out from Na'Vi, and it's interesting to note that Sean Gares now plays inner. You know, that's an adjustment for this team when Devoduvic and Amanek came on board. He used to play on the outer bomb site, so, and he hasn't had a whole lot of matches on this map since those two joined to kind of get used to playing this spot. So he's definitely going to get challenged by a Na'Vi team who have some very explosive inner executes that they like to run, very aggressive stuff, very fast-paced play. And he's definitely going to be challenged. And here comes one of those fast-paced plays for Na'Vi. This time, though, it's heavy ladder room, so they're really trying to work this outer yard as quickly as possible. Again, showing you that new look from Na'Vi.
Smoking onto the connector. Going to try and isolate the team from one another. On the side of Misfits, Shazam is going to spot a pixel, converts it into the kill. Preemptively trying to tap through the smoke. There's a corridor where terrorists will typically push after the smokes come down, but Shazam is doing so much work on top of the train. But no one else is really getting an opportunity to get kills. All on Simple. AK-47 in hand. He does have time to burn, but he does not have the bomb. There's the first one. Loses nearly half of his health.
Yeah, but now they know where he is. They have the bomb down. Not many options open to Simple other than to just to do something absolutely mental with this AK to break in, but not going to be the case. Misfits handled that fast outer very well. They just kind of play behind the smokes. They give Na'Vi that initial space, but Shazam with some great AWP picks, particularly that kill he got at Olaf on C's, I think it was. That was pretty nasty stuff. So Misfits will go up 4-0, and now Na'Vi likely to lose this as well as they can make the Tech9 Force buy work. Obviously, a favorite with this type of buy would be a huge inner attack. So we'll see if they want to go for that. They just want to go fast out T-Con again. That's definitely also possible.
And Misfits already nearly equalizing the grand total of rounds they picked up the last time these two teams played each other. So a brisk, solid, efficient start. We do have a little bit to cause concern for Misfits. Smoke on ramp, that's from the CT's perspective. Again, blockading a push. Works very much the same way as an incendiary would in that same position. Na'Vi have enough smokes on the box halls to maybe go for an execute here, Dust. And Amanek is holding a much more passive angle this time, although he can see the top of Catwalk.
Yeah, they also have another player close by Z as well, so they're going to pretty fast rotate in here, but it's just going to be about Na'Vi trying to get this bomb plan. They've already succeeded in that right.
Yeah, bomb will go down. Incendiary lands on the site, but they should be able to wait, bide their time. Guardian, actually no, the bomb was dropped out. I didn't quite catch what happened there. Didn't see from the perspective.
Yeah, I think an incendiary got on the bomb train and actually pushed them off of being able to plant, and the kills came in right after that. So well done by Misfits to not even allow the extra money to go on Na'Vi's hands in a round like that one. It can always be difficult to deny plants on inner pushes like this, but yeah, you can see that incendiary got down in what would be like the normal safe planning spot. So yeah, definitely well done. And again, Sean Gares in a new position, handles that actually pretty efficiently. And so now we're going to see Guardian with the AWP in his hands. This might be where they slow things down just a tad, give him a chance to put this to work. As he is going to be playing over here towards Ivy. Smoke is up, so triple Ivy play in motion for Na'Vi as they try to boost and look over the smoke. Have a couple over towards ladder. Actually bombs down by T-Con. If Devoduvic finds this, that could spell a lot of trouble for Na'Vi.
I mean, this could be round ending if he finds it, but it is on the other side of the wall. It's unlikely he's going to go into that corridor.
Ooh.
And to make matters worse, Flamey has wrapped around. Does lose the bulk of his health down to just 22, but that is a worthwhile trade. And they now can stamp their authority back on the bomb. Puts a lot of pressure on the rest of Misfits. For the time being, Sean Gares is actually on the site by himself. I say on the site, he's back towards the CT spawn side. But Amanek, as ever, around in connector for that sweeper roll.
He's going to have the incendiary to stop the initial site cross as they come down lower. And Sick is actually getting in position to maybe fast flank, but there is still a terrorist posted up there waiting for it. It's going to be seized. And actually, Sick does back down behind Olaf. So they definitely have Misfits scrambling in a 4-on-5, and they already are starting to get into the inner thanks to Flamey and Simple, pushing through upper very slowly with that bomb.
I love the idea of this double fake, trying to force the Misfits into relocating and catch them on the cross. It's not really going to work out, as Shazam did get the opening pick, but Flamey right back in with another one. And that pretty much should seal the deal for Na'Vi here. Amanek, though, does come back with a kill of his own, and considering that Misfits are at 5-0, they can afford to throw a couple of these weapons away if it could get them this bomb defusal. Guardian on upper, and Seized has a Molotov. But Shazam's going to pick up another kill. This is going horribly wrong for Na'Vi, who looked in great shape to take this round, and now Seized is going to be getting himself round the side as the bomb is being defused. There's not going to be enough time for that Molotov to do anything, and the bomb's been defused fully. Misfits have picked up a 6th.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was going to go that way. Na'Vi did everything right. They got that aggression from Devil Duvik, who pushed into T-Connector. They handled that well. They got out into inner. They took Sean Gares down fairly clean. They get the plant. I mean, everything's looking to go their way, but Amanek with a big kill kind of changes things. And Shazam, great work with the AWP. And again, the 3v3 type rounds were the problem for Misfits yesterday on Train when they got swept 16-5. Now they finally win one of those types of rounds. So well done. They've already gotten more rounds in this game than they got in the entirety of yesterday on Train against Na'Vi.
Edward hyper-aggression will find Shazam. And that does not bode well for him. You can see he was on a carpet of fire. His feet were getting nice and toasty. He had to move out into the open. A reinvigorated Misfits, it would seem. The CT side of Train has been very solid indeed. Amanek is going to pick up one Shazam. Uncharacteristic for how he's played in this best of 3. You'd have fancied him to have actually landed that shot. Amanek comes back with another one. Flamey and Seized. Isolated from one another, and the bomb's actually dropped back towards T-Spawn as well. So they're going to have to get a couple of kills in this confrontation. There's the first one. Not able to land a second. Flamey will put out Sick. There's still Sean Gares and Amanek are alive and kicking. And there's Amanek, 7-0.
So Misfits off to a roaring start here on Train. They've done well to kind of play themselves back into rounds where maybe they gave up an early advantage. They've also handled this kind of new aggressive look from Na'Vi quite well. These fast outer pushes have been shut down, particularly by Amanek and Shazam's AWP. So this is exactly what you want to see out of Misfits in a moment like this, where elimination's on the line. They've already lost the first map, and now you're putting up great numbers against a Na'Vi team who, again, don't typically drop this map unless it's against the best of the best.
Guardian's already down to just 58 health. Seized also early casualty of war. But again, just look at this. Edward tried it last round. Found a Molotov for his troubles. Guardian's already out, maneuvering his way towards the E-box. He's going to be chilling on this Train for the time being. Edward, right next to him, has opened up, breaking the deadlock, and maybe finally Na'Vi can lift the curse on this T side of Train. One of the better opportunities that they've had.
Edward was, of course, big on Cobblestone on some of his entries, and he's definitely one of the main guys to try to take outer for this team when it comes to riflers off the back of Guardian's AWP, and he's already found the first frag. There's another one, so here he goes, capturing the outer bomb site right now. Still a lot of time on the clock. They have a 5-on-3, and there's no commitment just yet, so makes it even more difficult for Misfits. They don't know what they're fully up against just yet.
Guardian's still trying to peer into the angle, see if he can get something back from the Abyss, and all he'll find is a couple of shots downrange that will put him out. Edward, now playing in a post-plant scenario. This really is the best chance they've had, other than that crazy comeback. Amanek and Shazam are looking to do it again, and surely not like this, Na'Vi. You've got to start landing some of these rounds, some of these post-plant scenarios. Shazam's going to take out Simple, and again, Lightning has struck twice. Misfits, on a miraculous retake, have done it. 8-0, Na'Vi. Maybe now's the time to call a time, and indeed it will. I was about to say,
complete 180 from yesterday and Cobblestone combined. Look at Misfits winning these crazy rounds, just grinding them out. They just won a 3 versus 5 when Edward just clean swept the outer bomb site. Everything was going Misfits' way, but Amanek with the kill. He's been kind of the catalyst of bringing his team back. He'll find like that one frag to start evening the numbers, and then his team follows it up very nicely. Shazam, of course, being the other big factor in some of these rounds that Misfits have fought their way back into, and so Na'Vi are definitely going to be scratching their heads now because, I mean, these are rounds they should be winning, hands down. I mean, they're getting good early advantages. They're getting good map control. They're getting the bomb down. They even had some good post-plan positioning, and they're just getting shut out. It's just great individual efforts really coming out of Misfits to play them back into these crazy rounds.
And this after Na'Vi just swept them aside on Cobblestone, their choice of map. And up next is Mirage. Now, they talked about this on the desk. If it comes down to Mirage, Misfits have a real chance, actually, at maybe causing the upset. We're not quite there yet, but 8-0, a brutal start.
Definitely unexpected stuff. So, I mean, I kind of have to wonder what Navi's thinking about doing here on this T side. You know, their money's obviously kind of in a low situation. Getting Guardian an op often is going to be a lot more challenging. So far, the only thing I haven't really seen them do yet that they do like to do is some of these heavy utility inter-executes. They definitely have a couple of those to roll out. We did see them on kind of like Force Fire or Eco-type rounds try to do that to get bomb plants, and they were denied that. But definitely on full gun rounds, it's still something that they do like to do, kind of seize lurking behind while the other four just kind of like to explode out of like split upper and lower, basically, and try to challenge a guy like Sean Gares, who's kind of green when it comes to playing the inner bomb side. Again, it's just a very recent adjustment he's had to make with this roster change. So that could be something they think about. Maybe they think about slowing things down a bit. They have been very fast in how they've approached these outer execs. Maybe you give Guardian a bit more time with AWP to try to find something. So there's definitely some options out there for Na'Vi, but they need to come up with something quick. This map is definitely starting to really get out of control for them.
And they can come back into this. It's still fairly early days, but as he's saying, it has to start right here, right now. They are running out of time. Misfits and the CT side have been a cut above what we saw on Cobblestone. Shazam seemingly moving with confidence. Here's Davidovec, close range for 2. The A1S, so potent, so deadly at that kind of range. But it is a 3-on-3, and Na'Vi pushing straight through onto the A site. We've seen this before, and they've lost from these positions in the past. Sean Gares could get the drop. The smoke is going to fend off this for now, but Guardian comes out, and Sean Gares will get his man. The timeout has not been a success. It's going to be 9-0. Misfits continue to stride forward.
It's actually kind of ridiculous that Davidovec, who normally plays Ivy for Misfits, they actually leave Ivy almost open entirely at the early round. He actually pushes ladder up against a triple push from Na'Vi. You know, Na'Vi changed it up by trying to come heavy out of ladder, and look at this, Davidovec is just posted up right there on the boxes with the M4 and just lights him up. So it's just kind of these crazy, you know, reads coming out, and Misfits are just dominating this map right now. There's been nothing there for Na'Vi, really.
I mean, clearly Sean Gares, some god-tier calls. Some huge reads after that timeout. And now Shazam's playing aggressive again. Guardian, dead and buried. I can't quite believe what I'm witnessing here. Misfits are tearing Na'Vi to pieces on train.
You could tell they wanted to go for one of those heavy inter-executes we were talking about that they might, you know, think about in their timeout. But they, again, when Shazam just disrupts you like that, now all of a sudden you have to slow things down and kind of reset. This buys time for more rotations, and Shazam still keeps finding kills with this AWP.
He's so aggressive right now. You can see the confidence surging through him. Oh, what a no-scope that is onto Simple. Didn't know what hit him. Misfits, they've already hit double digits. Na'Vi have got nothing out of this half of Counter-Strike.
I think I seem to remember the analyst that's talking about, you know, some type of anatomy of Shazam that would, you know, be really nice to have in moments like this, and they're massive right now. He is just not messing around. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
There's so many places I know your brain wants to go,
yeah.
but they just can't.
I'm surprised you restrained yourself. That was impressive.
Yeah. It's the one that is not restraining himself is Shazam. He has missed 2. And again, the way he's been playing, you expect him to land one of those 2. Could that come back to sting them? That's a free kill on a plate that has been missed. And the reason we're talking about Mirage being a chance is that, of course, recently, it should be mentioned both those results were against Mousesports, but collectively they've only picked up 3 rounds the last 2 times of playing at Na'Vi. Misfits aren't bad at it at all, but here we go. It's going to be the push. Simple's down. Amanek in the smoke, up close and personal, dispatching of the bomb planter, and Guardian and a Tech 9 have it all to do. As do Na'Vi. They're eyeing up a potential 11-0 deficit. I did not think those words would be coming out of my mouth.
No, definitely not. I mean, certainly, based on yesterday's result, and based on what we know about Na'Vi on train, the fact that they're getting dissed like this in this first half is incredible stuff. Misfits just really countering Na'Vi well. They're handling everything that's being thrown at them. And like I said, the ability for them to grind out rounds, something that's been lacking for Misfits in this tournament, but it's happening here for them in this map.
Especially considering that Na'Vi just beat them 16-7. And although it started close, it ended incredibly one-sided. To go from those highs to these lows, 16-5, pardon me. To go from those highs to these lows is pretty unreal in amongst itself. But Misfits, Shazam again. Na'Vi.
He's been all over the place, man. He's pushed up T-Connector. He's been playing aggressive at inner lately. Almost finds another one. This time he takes a lot of damage, and now he's going to be forced to retreat. So this double inner pressure that Misfits has created has really denied any inner exec that Na'Vi wanted to maybe throw in a fast-paced manner. And now you're even seeing Devoduvic pick off a player at Ivy, so now it's Misfits with the 5-on-3 right off the bat. And everything's just stacking up against Na'Vi. Sick again going to, look to push into T-Connector, put that Incendiary down, deny them any space. And if you're still sitting back in your own T-Connector this late in the round, that's not a good look.
Seemingly out of ideas after that timeout. They haven't even been able to get their crazy individual performance on point, and you see there from Guardian's perspective, gets team flashed. Just completely out of sorts. Looking to push in. His own team's flash lands in his face. Simple is going to try his luck, try his arm with the AK. Maybe it's just a case of unleashing Simple and just saying, do whatever the hell you want, get us back in this map.
Hey, he's in like one of those few groups of players who can do that for you, like a Shox, like a Nico, where you can just cut him loose and allow him to try to create a play for you. He's already started to do that with a couple of kills. He may catch Amanek off guard as well. No, he doesn't. Amanek's actually going to capture that back, so this puts them right back in the driver's seat on the Misfit side, but it's going to come down to this 2 versus 2.
Oh, Amanek very unfortunate not to get that kill, and it cost him dearly. Shazam, with 15 health, he's got to try and close this one out, and he lands the frag onto Guardian. Unbelievable. Misfits will pick up a 12, and how many clutches has this man pulled off this tournament now?
How many damn no-scopes has this guy hit on Train today? It's ridiculous, and he keeps doing it in these clutch situations. He's done it on inner twice between the game against Heroic and this one, and now he does it on the outer side as well. He's having quite the game and quite the tournament, really.
Here it is. Boom. Unbelievable. And he could see as well, he looked at the AK like, should I pick it? Nah. I'm a beast.
12-0 for Misfits right now, and Na'Vi are left scratching their heads. What do they have left in them? What page can they turn to in their playbook now to try to get something out of this half, because it's just been all Misfits. Looks like once again they want to gather up for time of execute. They have plenty of Molotovs and smokes to make this difficult on Misfits to handle. So there is that rotation already coming in here, but Seangair still has a lot of work to do by himself up close. Amanek supporting him from the back, trying to watch his upper for him. And they have some of their own counter incendiaries still left. Sean still has that fire left in him to try to throw down. Now Amanek taking chip shots from Connector and winning the fight, and Seangair's got the bomb down already.
This must feel like death by 1,000 paper cuts by Na'Vi. Shazam, who else would it be? The silence, the quell Simple. Misfits on the verge of taking this map and making it their own against Na'Vi. Some would argue that 12 rounds is already enough. I'm not necessarily sold on that when it comes to Na'Vi. I think they still could drag this one back, but there's no doubting that Misfits are in a different level to what we saw on Cobblestone. Just look at this, see? Shazam. I mean, this is world-class tier AWPing we're seeing right now. He's not missing anything.
Yeah, he's definitely on fire. It's flowing through his veins right now. It's good to see it. He's always been a guy who looked like he had the skill level and the mechanical ability to do things like this, but it's really all coming together now for him here in Torn. This tournament has just been full of surprises. You know, you got G2 losing to Tricked. You got Misfits beating Heroic in a best of 3. You got Mousesports, doing the first seed out of their group. Like, so many things have been crazy, and now this might be just another one added to the list as Misfits up 13-0. Can they really completely just shut out Na'Vi? It's a real possibility.
Shazam's on 21-4 now. 22-4. Showing no signs of slowing down. Will miss one. And his presence certainly felt in this round, but can Na'Vi finally get themselves on the board? It must be so painful for them right now. Sick and Sean Gares saying no. We're not going to let you have a single round on this half and potentially the entire map. Guardian gets the one planted. I like he's going aggressive with the Tech 9. You kind of have to play aggressive in these scenarios. Roll the dice, see what you get. Could be Snake Eyes, but it's worth trying. There's the first. Isn't clean though, down to 39. Doesn't have any nades either to toss out onto the site, but it is planted for him. Tapping. Both players are low, but Sean Gares again is going to clutch for Misfits. 14-0. Yes, you heard that right. Na'Vi are being battered.
This is one of those moments where someone probably hops on the internet and fires up the scoreboard and is absolutely baffled. And watching it has been just the same result, really. And how an auto sniper's coming out from Amanek, putting everything out there. Na'Vi on their last buy. They do have Guardian with the AWP. They have AKs across the board. Limited utility, however. And that's one thing Misfits has been good with. Their utility has been excellent. They've held on to it. They've waited to the very last moment. Na'Vi hasn't done a great job of baiting out a lot of utility from Misfits, particularly on the inner bomb site. And Shazam's still going to work with this AWP at inner. Again, he's literally been all over the map. It's been so hard for Na'Vi to figure out where it's going to be coming from.
How do you deal with a man on this kind of form? Seized. Will take down Devidevec, trying to cut Misfits down to size. Sick holding the passive angle, waiting for the terrorist to push his location. Again, up on the little ledge to try and skew with the crosshair. Not going to happen. Flamey is up to the task. Molly goes in, extinguished by the smoke. Sean Gares, again, we've seen this a few times by him, coming through Pop Dog, around the backside. And a lot of that is because Shazam has been wrecking so hard in box walls, no one wants to face him. Here comes the auto sniper as well from Amanek. Shazam, gonna get caught from the side. Flamey will put him out of his misery, and now Flamey comes through for a second. Could this be the moment? Sean Gares, AK-47 in hand, bomb still hasn't been planted, but time in favor of Flamey and Na'Vi, and Flamey will finally, in the last round of the half, give Na'Vi one.
Yeah, so sure the 16-0 dream is dead, but it's still such a massive lead from Misfits. They would have to win out to win in regulation at this point. They can afford to lose no more rounds if they want that. One loss, the best they can hope for is an overtime. It would take just a massive blunder by Misfits to give this one away. They did such a great job on their CT side. They, like I said, they shut everything down that Na'Vi threw at them. They even won rounds where they were down, you know, one or two players right at the beginning, so they were able to show the ability to grind back from disadvantageous situations, whereas Na'Vi really didn't show you much at all. I mean, yeah, there were a couple of rounds early on where they would get an early advantage. They would get their initial take fine. They would get the entries that they wanted, like that one round where Edward got 2 entries and then they got into the outer yard, but they could never close out those rounds. And then as the half drug on, they were just started getting dominated. Like Shazam just kept finding opening picks with the AWP. You know, Amanek was finding these kills in rounds where his team was behind. He'd get them back into it with a nice frag. And really everyone on Misfits played fine. I mean, even the guys with low numbers, they didn't really have to do much. So it wasn't as if they were some type of burden on their team or anything like that. And so now we're into the second half, 14-1 Misfits, and Na'Vi, they have a long road to travel to get back into this one.
It is an uphill climb from here on out. Na'Vi simply have to win this pistol. As you highlighted, all rounds from here on out. If they want to win in regulation in overtime, it's going to need to be the next 14. Oh, they can lose one, then win 14. Now Flamey's going to land the first frag. Bomb is going to get planted. And a Molotov in the hands of Amanek. Now, Flamey has a smoke. I'm going to guess he's going to hold on to this as long as possible. The fact that Shazam and Devidevec came through for kills, though, is certainly going to help matters a little bit more. I think there's some team wounds going on in the fray of that, with players getting in each other's way. And now this is where the Molotov into the smoke counter will come to fruition. Flamey straight down with the smoke, and that will be the round over. Amanek gets knifed just to make matters worse. Are you mad? Because I'm not. Well, actually, Simple probably is mad right now. His team are getting wrecked. But at least he got a second round.
I got a little bit extra money there as well out of that, of course. And yeah, it definitely got awkward there, right? In the post plant, you saw 2 players trying to push over towards Pop Dog. There was team damage involved there. So they wanted to try to push forward with those Glocks and, you know, try to get the close range battles, but, you know, didn't get anywhere near that. And yeah, Simple closes it out there. So a second round for Na'Vi. Step 1 in the very long checklist has been accomplished. As it will be basically Misfits saving up because they got that first round bomb plant, so they want to get a nice buy in the next round. So they will kind of concede this one, so to speak.
Sean Gares and Amanek See if they can do any economic damage before this round inevitably comes to a close. And it will be Na'Vi's hand raised at the end of 17. Barring one of the best plays you could probably ever witness that Sean Gares would have had to have pulled off, won't be happening. Seized will ruin that dream. Na'Vi with 3.
So Misfits will go ahead and start making their purchases. AKs across the board. Gonna have a little bit of utility thrown in there as well. Again, like Cobblestone, you notice that Misfits tend to be a bit slower paced, but in a round like this one, they don't really have that much utility to like do a full proper execute or something like that. Maybe you will see something a bit different out of them. They themselves also will have some pretty nifty executes, but that'll have to wait until later when they actually have the utility to do it. This time around, they're gonna kind of just take things somewhat slower, though they are working out of inner actually pretty quickly with a couple of players, but they are very spread thin actually.
Yeah, Misfits aren't really showing their hand just yet, opting for a slower round. They are going to get the pick onto Simple, though. After Na'Vi get the first one, that was the last thing they were hoping for. Do keep an eye, though, on how many nades Misfits have. It's absolutely 0, so it's going to have to be raw entry fragging coming out. So in terms of AKs, that's all well and good, but Na'Vi have a huge advantage into this one. Devex down to 4, it's going to make matters that little bit worse.
And Guardian going after it. He knows what damage has been done. He wants to go ahead and finish the job, and he's going to be able to do it. So he gets it into a 4-on-3. So advantage here for Misfits and the first gun round out of Misfits, basically.
Oh, beautiful by Edward. Spray transfer on point. It would have been fitting for him to round this off, but won't be happening. Na'Vi, though, currently flawless in their rifle rounds on this CT side.
Yeah, so they handle the first gun round that Misfits throw at them. Well done by Edward and Guardian, holding off any type of outer presence from Misfits, as Misfits now will have to essentially take a save short of a couple of upgraded pistols.
This is Na'Vi's gateway back in. It's to keep the economy relatively low for Misfits. Of course, on the T side, it's what's going to be harder to do because of round loss bonus and just the cheaper arsenal of weaponry that they need to replenish. But take these 3 rounds where you can. There's very little room for error here, Dust, and Na'Vi only have themselves to blame for that.
As we see that, Misfits are looking to do kind of the typical eco push into inner, but we already see that Seized, who's normally there now, in place of Flamey, who used to play it, but Flamey's not kind of the rotator. He's there as well. Guardian also here with the AWP. So getting in the plant's going to be so difficult with all these numbers here.
Here's a slaughter onto the site. Hold on a second. Seized, what was that? Not waiting for the rest of his team to come through. These are the kind of things that can really start to mount up. Fortunately for him, though, the rest of his team is on point. They do lose 2 players and concede a bomb plant. So that's just mission accomplished by Misfits. That's exactly what they're looking to get done in this round.
You could see he was throwing himself in there to try to stop the bomb plant. That was really the goal in mind. Doesn't quite get it done, but of course they still close out the round, no problem. But that money does go over to Misfits. And so they'll have even more to work with. They'll even have an AWP in play on Shazam, who's been hot with it this game. Plenty of utility as well, so they can really work whatever they want. This might be one of those rounds where since Shazam has AWP, they're going to slow it down and play those slower defaults like you saw on Cobblestone.
Still say the Misfits don't have much pressure on their shoulders considering the vast amounts of rounds that they find themselves ahead. If Na'Vi start to get, 14-10, breathing down the necks of Misfits, that's maybe when they'll start to worry a little bit more, but for the time being, just one foot in front of the other. Na'Vi, standard plays thus far. Bomb dropped out towards T-spawn. Misfits with a healthy dosage of nades, including 5 smokes still in play, so set play is certainly on the table if they so choose.
Yeah, Na'Vi actually goes straight to double AWP setup on CT side, which again, something they don't do a lot since Andy started coaching. And in fact, the second house in Seized hands since he plays inner, as opposed to Simple, who would normally double a lot, but that's kind of based on their CT positions. I guess it makes more sense for this setup for Seized to have it, since this is kind of his home turf on CT side nowadays. He's going to have Flamey there with them as well at the M4, so a pretty proper inner defense here from Na'Vi. Going to be pretty stout, going to be difficult to break through here for Misfits, who, again, they have all their smokes and Molotovs to, run a really complex execute, which they're definitely capable of with Sean. Can definitely force those players into awkward space with those Molotovs, as Trick was showing us in their train game.
Here come the smokes raining in. It's going to be Seized and Flamey to try and hold off the push. Flamey is going to bang himself one alongside Seized, who did lose his life to the very capable hands of Shazam's AWP. Bomb planted in amongst the smoke. Only an incendiary left and a Molotov in the hands of Davidovec. With them landing themselves a kill onto Guardian, this is now a lot more doable. They need Shazam to stay alive long enough to give them that opportunity to throw the Molotov in the first place. Unfortunate not to take Edward out of the equation. Here comes the Molotov and Shazam on point once again. That Molotov is really stopping them from getting this defuse, and this is such a good position now for Misfits to be in. Davidovec just has to bide his time and wait. The bomb has been tickled on. Gonna come through for the frag, and even though Simple lands it, it's not good enough. And it will be the round going to Misfits.
Davidovec knew exactly what he had to do. He had to just kind of ignore Simple and just try to get that kill on the bomb diffuser, and he does fit it in. One of those tense moments where that easily could have gone to Na'Vi. As Simple is able to pick him off before he gets that final bullet out. But again, it's Shazam with the AWP making plays. Just a phenomenal game for him. He's at 27 kills in these 20 rounds played, so he's definitely done his job and then some.
Yeah, great performance. The bulk of those coming on the CT side. I was curious how he transitioned across the terrorist side. No problem so far. Edward and Seized alongside Guardian. All going to chime in for frags alongside Simple. Could get the team ace if Flamey can pick one up. But Amanek not interested in any of those shenanigans. He wants this round. Na'Vi, of course, a bunch of veteran players. They've been here before. They've been back against the ropes, back against the wall, and came out kicking.
Yeah, you could see that Na'Vi just took the initiative everywhere across the map. You had Seized pushing in her halls. You had Guardian, really looking to take duels at Ivy. Simple presses through Ivy as well. So it's one of those rounds where Na'Vi's aggression just really pays off, and it's all across the map. And so Misfits get shut down. Every single route that they could look to take into a site was closed off. And so now Amanek is just trying to see what he can accomplish by himself.
Well, there's almost a mini skirmish in amongst this round whereby Amanek just wants to get as many kills as possible. Already, as a result of losing that last round, Seized on $400, Flamey on $100. So if he can take another player out of the equation here, that is going to weaken their next purchase, which in amongst itself could very well get them this map.
Good plan as well, as Guardian misses that shot. He's not going to go for the plant, though. He's actually looking to try to see if he can get guns down.
Yeah. He wants to go for the economy breaking play rather than the plant. He's going to catch Guardian off. Oh, and he gets Flamey as well, even though he likely will not win this round as Simple puts him out. That's 4 weapons taken away, which is so huge. Simple's able to get the AWP. They're going to drop some weapons across now.
And you got to think, if he didn't have his knife out when he was trying to run back to the site, could look like he was trying to see if he could still maybe get the bomb plant off after that push up deep and inner. If he has his gun out instead, maybe he even wins that. That would have been insane. So a lot of damage dealt there by Amanek. Obviously, they can't really capitalize on it just yet because they had to take a save here, but definitely kind of plays into it a little bit later. Though they only need one more round to win, so I'm not sure how much it really impacts things, but definitely still a pretty crazy round that it got that close.
Well, Na'Vi now have expended almost all their funds, not able to get a double AWP set up. Had Simple not been able to get that AWP as well, this would have been a real iffy buy, but they have somewhat salvaged it. Oh, Flamey, that shot while flashed in midair. Nicely done. Look for more as well. Bomb gets planted. Again, Misfits will be happy with this outcome. Important for Na'Vi not to lose any more weapons. It looks like they will be able to lay this to rest without that being an issue. So 7th round. And all the economic issues now Na'Vi were facing before, no longer as much of an issue.
Yeah, very clean win here. Not much rebuying going to have to take place. Just one guy is going to have to make a purchase here as far as rifles go. So it kind of eliminates all the damage that Amanek did, really. And again, since Misfits only need one more round, it doesn't really play into it too much. As Misfits here, they have plenty of cushion. They have plenty of breathing room, so they're not going to get too heavy-handed in this round. They're going to buy up a little bit, sure, but they'll make sure that they have enough money to get a nice full buy in the next round. So this gives you a chance maybe to close it here and now, but it doesn't handicap you.
Now we have the double AWP set up. They weren't able to get one last time. This time they're okay for it. Did C switch a bit too early there? I think he may have wanted to go for the shot, and had he have done it, I think he'd actually landed the frag. Kind of unfortunate. Water falling out of Catwalk. That's an important shot seized. Does land the second, the much more difficult one, onto Shazam. Well, it is going to cost them a bomb plant. And Na'Vi going to be scrambling together. From the side is Sean Gares. Almost spoilt for choice. There were so many targets ahead of him. Amanex only able to pick up one. And Na'Vi's comeback train continues. Still 7 more rounds required for overtime.
Yeah, I don't think Misfits are sweating it just yet. Maybe if you let Na'Vi get up to 11 or 12 rounds, then all of a sudden you have to be a bit concerned that you've let this game slip away. You know, for example, a round like that one, they took a conservative approach and they didn't buy too much. They made sure that this is kind of one of their best chances to go ahead and finish the job here and move on to that third map as, you know, Shazam, who's going to have the AWP, who's been hot with it. You know, everyone's going to have AKs. They're going to have full utility. They can run some of their more complex executes if they want. They can use utility to play slower paced rounds and try to, you know, gain a little bit of map control or maybe throw a fake or something like that. So this allows them to really kind of just play whatever type of T round they want to. They're not really going to be limited in any way. And you do see them slow things down. Amanek looking to get control of Brown Hall. Sean Gares with him. He kind of floats around the map to kind of assist his team. No presence on Ivy, though, for Misfits. Devo playing it way deep in T-spawn.
Making a lot of noise in box holes as well, spamming through the smoke. Bomb is there. Of course, as far as Na'Vi's concerned, that could very well just be a fake. So they're not going to budge an inch. Stay in position, have every angle covered.
Yeah, this is one of those things where Misfits just want to make sure they're not getting pushed anywhere so that they can set up for whatever execute they really want to run. So you see that they've made sure that no one's actually getting aggressive in Brown Halls. They have a player kind of spotting, making sure no one's pushing through Ivy.
Still 4 incendiaries for Na'Vi. So much stopping power. Here comes the set play. Looking like it's going to be some nades onto A with a split through Pop Dog. Guardian in prime position to watch on T main. They are going to throw a smoke in return though. That's going to lock off Pop Dog, so it's not going to allow them to push through for the time being unless they want to come straight through the smoke, and that's going to mean the embracing arms of Simple. Now this is where the incendiaries start to come into play. Amanek and Devodivek both come through with kills though, leaving Flamey on top of the train. Just trying to get as much damage as he possibly can to stop this bomb from going down. It's still going to get planted, though, in amongst all the chaos on the B side. So it is a successful fake. Na'Vi now have to try and get themselves over to the B side, where who else but Shazam is laid in wait. We see what this guy's capable of in clutch situations, especially with no scopes. And he's going to have to pull it off, and it's going to have to be something truly remarkable and special. And Seized is not having it. Na'Vi with a 9th.
So a well-constructed fake there from Misfits. It accomplished what it needed to. They put just enough personnel in the outer yard to really apply that pressure off the back of the utility. Got the rotate they wanted, allowed them to break in to enter for the bomb plant, but well done by Na'Vi to make the retake happen there. Now they have the double op setup still in play. Now they're starting to get on the heels of Misfits. Now they're starting to pose a bit of a threat. Misfits, you lose a couple of more gun rounds like that, and all of a sudden overtime is a real possibility, which would be an incredible comeback from a team that was down 14-1.
Absolutely would be. I'm sure Misfits would be heartbroken if they allowed Na'Vi back into this and ended up getting knocked out after a 14-1 lead. Sure, that's going to start to become more and more of a thing in the back of their mind. Guardian does get one, but traded out for Shazam. So Devodivek's going to be okay being the bait as long as his Orpa can rattle off some more kills. He's going to hit a bit of a deadlock, though, after those 2 opening picks. Misfits pull back. They don't decide to push behind it. And Na'Vi relocate after losing their Orpa.
Yeah, so an even trade gets into a 4-4 situation. Again, this is just kind of Misfits bread and butter. Is to take things slowly, move Shazam's AWP around, try to find picks, counter any aggression, then set up for what you really want based on a mid-round read. That's kind of Sean Gares' rep is in fact that. So we do see them begin to gather up here with the bomb over towards Brown Halls. They already have one player who's kind of cleared out and make sure no one's pushed upper. C's, though, does have the WP and Z. I think Flamey is also already inside the site with the rifle as well. So They'll have a pretty stout defense for this inner bomb site. Good counter incendiary as well, right when the clock's getting late. That delays things even longer.
Well,
and that gap in the smoke.
That's not a good smoke at all. Seized is going to jump on top of that if he's given an opportunity to. Instead, realizing the incendiary was about to come to a close, he shifts his attention elsewhere. Amanek getting the entry onto Flamey will be face-palming that he didn't lock that kill down. Could be so important. Shazam still in position. There's no Molotov for Misfits. That's going to be an issue for them to try and fend off the defuse. Shazam about to come head-to-head with Simple and lands the shot. It looked like you definitely die there, but instead he's given Misfits the chance to clutch this one out, and indeed they will. Misfits take it 16-9, breaking back this series into a 1-1 after losing their choice of map. And to Mirage we will move.
Amanek and Shazam just had such a good game for Misfits. They were getting all these impact frags. It was Amanek, rounds where it looked like this team was slipping, he'd bring them back into it. Shazam, obviously, several highlight reel moments with the AWP throughout this tournament, and particularly in this map. You know, just a crazy good CT side. They won that 14-1. They had all the time in the world to close out that map, and while it did take them a bit of time to get there, it never got too dangerous, right? It never allowed Na'Vi into double digits and really make things scary. They closed it in an about appropriate amount of time, I think, especially since they were being conservative with their economy. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a shocking result. When you think about what happened yesterday, and you think about just when you look at the rosters on paper that this happens, particularly how good Na'Vi are untrained typically.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable to think they were 14-1 up. And sure, Na'Vi started to come back. It was on the CT side. They ended up getting themselves in a position where it was feasible, but they still had a long way to climb, right? And so Misfits, they got it done. Again, Shazam, I'm super impressed that not only did he have a great first half on the CD side, he took the over on the T side as well. He had just as much impact on the T half. So great work by Shazam, and now we move to Mirage. This is a map that Na'Vi have struggled with. Fair enough, it's been against Mouse Sports, but they've won 3 rounds in 2 maps against them on Mirage. Do you think Misfits now have a real opportunity here to cause the maybe one of the biggest upsets of this tournament?
I mean, you'd like to do the safe bet on Na'Vi, wouldn't you? I mean, that's typically, especially when you think about outside of what you've mentioned, like Mirage has classically been a great map for them, and even with this lineup, they could still play it quite well. And they play it much differently, which has been kind of the storyline, right? Just like a more fast-paced team. You know, I thought Misfits handled the fast-paced play on Train very well. They'll be asked to do it again on Mirage, I think. So, yeah, it should be a barn burner of a game. It's crazy that we've gone this deep in the series, to be honest.
Well, we'll find out if Na'Vi or Misfits progress through to the next stage of this tournament after this very short commercial break. We'll be right back.